We believe in the truth that is in the Bible, but we don't believe in the lies that the white man has put in the Bible. We believe in Allah's prophets and the scriptures they brought to the people. We believe in the resurrection of the dead, not in the physical resurrection, but in mental resurrection. We believe that the so-called Negroes are most in need of mental resurrection. Therefore, they will be resurrected first. We believe in the resurrection of the dead, but not when you're physically dead. When you stop breathing and your heart stop beating and that man stick you in the ground, that's all she wrote. You are not going anywhere. Your soul isn't going anywhere. Your body isn't going anywhere. Nothing is happening after that. When you're dead, you're done. That's it. You can forget it. Then if that's all of it, what about the resurrection? He says that our people are dead. Negroes are dead. Walking zombies. You're the one that the book is talking about who is dead. Dead to the knowledge of yourself. Dead to the knowledge of your own people. Dead to the knowledge of your own God. Dead to the knowledge of the devil. Why, you don't even know who the devil is. You think the devil is someone down inside the ground that's going to burn you after you're dead. Why, the devil is right here on top of this earth. He got blue eyes, blonde hair, white skin, and he's giving you hell every day. And you're still too dead to see it. We believe in the resurrection of the dead. We believe that the 20 million black people in America in the last days will be taught the truth. The trumpet of truth will sound in your ear. As it's being sounded today, the trumpet of truth. And this truth strikes your ear and strikes your heart. It'll open your eyes. It'll open your ears. It'll make you stand up. It'll do the same thing for you that truth did for the dry bones in the valley. Because the picture of dry bones in the valley is talking about you. The picture of Lazarus laying dead 4 days is talking about you. You are Lazarus. You are the dry bones. You are the prodigal son. You are the lost sheep. You are the people about whom the Bible is speaking who will stand up in the last day when the trumpet is sounded. Black people are waking up. Black people are standing up. Black people are rising up and they're throwing fright into that knee-shaking white man. We believe we are the people of God's choice. That's what we believe. We believe we're the chosen people. We don't believe Jews are the chosen people. We don't believe Jews are the ones going to the promised land. We don't think Jews are a part of God. No, Jews are nothing but another part of that same race of devils that come out of Europe. They didn't even come out of the Holy Land. They come out of the caves of Europe. Furthermore, we believe we are the people of God's choice. As it is written that God would choose the rejected and despised, and we can find no other person fitting this description in these last days more than the so-called Negroes in America. We believe in the resurrection of the righteous. We believe in the judgment. We believe this first judgment will take place as God revealed right here in America. Right. The judgment will take place in America. The resurrection will take place in America. The judgment will take place in America. The separation will take place in America. And the destruction will take place in America. Doom will take place in America. Doomsday will take place right here. This is the place the Bible is talking about. When the Bible mentions Babylon, it means America. When the Bible mentions Sodom and Gomorrah, that's America. When the Bible mentions Egypt, that's America. This is Rome. This is Babylon. This is that wicked kingdom that God is going to come and set flame to in the last day. And you're living in that day right now. And I'm glad.
Okay, so as you just heard, Malcolm X understood who the people of the Bible were. He also understood that America is the new Babylon. And he was talking about this back in the 60s. And the reason I bring this up, because I believe that God has shown me in the Bible where Malcolm X is mentioned. And it's important because I believe Malcolm X was given to us as a pattern or type of what's to come in the future with this so-called Antichrist. I believe he will come in the same mold as Malcolm X. Okay. First to Israel, which is black people at this time. It's 12 tribes, but, you know, only the black people are getting dealt with right now. And I believe he's going to come up soon, especially in this time where it seems like black people are dying for a leader right now. So this will be a good time for him to come up. And with everything that's going on in the news and in the media and everything about black people getting shot and killed all the time by cops and everything. All this is setting the stage for this one to come, this Malcolm X figure. And I'm going to go into it right now and show you where I believe Malcolm X is mentioned in the Bible. Alright? I'm in the book of Revelation, chapter 2, and verse 12. And to the angel of the church of Pergamos write, These things saith he which hath the sharp sword with two edges. I know thy works, and where thou dwellest, even where Satan's seat is. And thou holdest fast my name, and hast not denied my faith, even in those days wherein Antipas was my faithful martyr, who was slain among you, where Satan dwelleth. This Antipas, I believe, is talking about Malcolm X. Antipas means anti-father, or instead of father. Anti-father. Because it says here, and has not denied my faith, even in those days, which lets you know he was preaching something else. So I believe this is talking about Malcolm X. Alright? And I believe the Antichrist, so-called, will come in the same manner as Malcolm X. Not that Malcolm X was evil or was the Antichrist. I believe Malcolm X was a righteous man, right? Especially after he left the Nation of Islam. He was no more a black supremacist. But this one to come, this Antichrist, will be evil, and he will take the same mold as Malcolm X, especially in these times, soon to come, as black people are looking for a leader right now in these days. And when you do where it says here, where Satan dwelleth, at the end of verse 13, if you do a research on the word dwelleth in the Greek, the core of that word can also mean indwelling. So it wouldn't surprise me if Malcolm X himself, as a clone, being possessed with the spirit of the devil in him, or the spirit of the devil in him literally, which I believe. That's my personal view on it, but I do believe that this is Malcolm X. Not my personal view. I believe it is. With everything going on in the world with genetically modified organisms and things of that nature, it wouldn't surprise me if that happened. Because in the book of Jude, the devil and Satan contended with Michael over the body of Moses. So it makes you wonder, what in the world does Satan want with the body of a dead man? You know, maybe he was going to try to resurrect him in some genetically modified way. That's what I'm thinking, and I believe that's what's going to happen with this so-called Antipas, talking about Malcolm X. It wouldn't surprise me if you see a clone of him, clone of Malcolm X, come in the near future. Again, that's my personal view on it. But I believe Antipas is Malcolm X, because it says my faithful martyr. So God sent him as a martyr, I believe, as a type of what's to come in the future. Alright, so just keep that in mind. Now I'm going to go to Revelation chapter 12, because this is where I believe we are in Bible prophecy today, and this is where I believe this Malcolm X figure will come up soon enough. But I believe we are here in Revelation chapter 12 and verse 13. And when the dragon saw that he was cast unto the earth, he persecuted the woman which is Israel, which brought forth the man-child. And to the woman were given 2 wings of a great eagle. This is talking about the coming of Christ, or not the second coming, but the redemption. Alright, I'll get into that soon. And to the woman were given 2 wings of a great eagle, that she might fly into the wilderness, and to her place where she is nourished for a time, and times, and half a time from the face of the serpent. So at the time of the redemption, the serpent, or this Malcolm X figure, is already on the scene. And when he's on the scene, That's when the redemption happens. And that links right in with 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, where it talks about the gathering of Christ will not happen until that wicked one be revealed. So that's what I believe is happening here. But a lot of people are not going to understand what's going on at this time, because it says here, excuse me, let me keep reading first. And the serpent cast out of his mouth water as a flood after the woman, that he might cause her to be carried away of the flood. See, when the redemption happens, we're going to be seeing some strange things in the heavenlies, all right? Vehicles we never seen before. I'm not going to call them spaceships. I'm just going to call them vehicles, for lack of a better term. And people are not going to understand what's going on. And this is the time where the serpent will cast out his mouth water as a flood, that he might cause the woman to be carried away of the flood, so that she don't escape. Alright? Then it says here in 16, and the earth helped the woman, and the earth opened her mouth and swallowed up the flood which the dragon cast out of his mouth. Anytime you hear the serpent, it's usually talking about the serpent attacking Israel, just like it did in the Garden of Eden, and also did in Numbers 21:2, when Moses put up the serpent, the bronze serpent for that matter. And so I believe this is where we at, or this is where we're at in Bible prophecy at this time. And there's a little parable, I want to get into that later, about the redemption, not the second coming, but the redemption of Christ. Alright, I'm getting into that a little bit. But first, I want to go here to the next chapter, chapter 13, and verse 16, talking about this mark of the beast. Alright, this mark of the beast is, first off, this mark of the beast is not a microchip. It has to do with worship and who you pledge allegiance to as far as worship. It has nothing to do with a microchip or anything of that nature. That don't mean you can get the microchip. I don't recommend anybody getting a microchip in them anywhere. Nonetheless, it has nothing to do with the mark of the beast. Alright, so let me go through this. Chapter 13 and verse 16. And he causes all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. This buy or sell is talking about religion as well. I'm going to get into that later. People are buying and selling, I believe, Islam at this time. And I believe it's in Isaiah 3 or 4 where it talks about all the religions. It says, and 7 women will take hold of one man and say, let us eat our own bread and wear our own clothes. Only let us be called by thy name. Which means that all these religions will still be in effect in the end time, but they all will take hold of this one, this so-called Antichrist, and they will be preaching they still have their own doctrine and doing their own thing, but they will be doing it, I believe, in the name of Allah, Islam. And let's go to 18. Here is wisdom. Let him that have understanding count the number of the beast, for is the number of a man, and his number is 666. I have a little video I want to show on this verse 18 in a minute, but first I want to go back to this mark of the beast and show you that it has to do with worship and not an actual mark in your hand. You go over to 16 where it talks about the angels pouring out their vows. I'm going to go to 16 and 2, and it says, and the first went and poured out his vow upon the earth, and there fell a noisome and grievous sore upon men which had the mark of the beast, and them which worshipped his image. So you see, there's a distinction there. It has to do with worship. That's the worship is the mark of the beast, not an actual physical mark. Alright. So that's what the mark of the beast is. Pledging your allegiance to someone other than the Most High God. Alright, I'm going to go to now, let's go to Matthew 25, about the parable about the 10 virgins. There's some information I want to bring out in there. Matthew 25 and verse 1, about the 10 virgins. Alright. Then shall the kingdom of heaven be like unto 10 virgins. Virgins are Israelites, just so you know, which took their lamps and went forth to meet the bridegroom. Bridegroom is Christ. And 5 of them were wise, and 5 were foolish. They that were foolish took their lamps, and took no oil with them. Oil is symbolic of truth and understanding. Alright, so keep that in mind. But the wise took oil in their vessels with their lamps. While the bridegroom tarried, they all slumbered and slept. And at midnight there was a cry made, Behold, the bridegroom cometh, go ye out to meet him. Then all those virgins arose and trimmed their lamps. And the foolish said unto the wise, see, this is talking about the return of Christ. Now I said when he returns, we're going to be seeing some strange things in the heavenlies. These vehicles we never seen before. Again, I'm not going to call them spaceships, but vehicles we never seen before. And people are not going to understand what's going on. Okay, so this is what's going on here in this parable. And the foolish said unto the wise, Give us your oil, for our lamps are going out. So remember, oil is truth and understanding. So at this time, the ones who don't have oil are not going to understand what's going on at this time. They're going to be so focused on what's going on with the so-called Antichrist and this Malcolm X figure that they're not going to understand when Christ returns. And God requires his people to understand when he's returning. I'm going to get into that too, alright, after this. Alright, so, verse 9. But the wise answered, saying, Not so, lest there be not enough for us and you, because I believe it's only 144,000, that's what it's referring to. But go ye rather to them that sell and buy for yourselves. See, that's what they're buying and selling in Revelation 13. They're so focused on that they don't understand when the true Christ is coming. Alright, so they're buying and selling Islam and they're focused on that, but when the real Christ comes, they want to know what's going on. But the wise say, listen, you've been messing with these guys all these last few years. You want some understanding, you don't have to go to them and let them tell you what's going on. Unless you might take somebody else's spot, and it's only 144,000 that's going to make it. Okay. Verse 10. And while they went to buy, the bridegroom came, and they that were ready went in with him to the marriage, and the door was shut. Afterward came also the other virgins, saying, Lord, Lord, open to us. But he answered and said, Verily I say unto you, I know you not. Watch therefore, for ye know neither the day nor the hour wherein the Son of Man cometh. So you got to be ready for this when he comes. All right, God requires you to know the time, and that's what I'm going to go into next here. I'm going to go to Luke 19. Kind of talks about that he requires you to understand the time of his coming. Alright, Luke 19. Luke 19, we're going to start at verse 41. And when, talking about Jesus entering into Jerusalem. And when he was come near, he beheld the city, Jerusalem, and wept over it, saying, If thou hadst known, even thou, at least in this thy day, the things which belong unto thy peace, but now they are hid from thine eyes. So here he wept over the city because there was nobody waiting for him there. He had just entered into the city as king, and nobody knew or understood the time. Again saying, if thou hadst known, even thou, at least in this thy day, the things which belong unto thy peace. See, if they had known, they would have had peace, because the Prince of Peace was there on the scene, but nobody knew or understood. But now they are hid from thine eyes. 43, for the day shall come upon thee, that thine enemies shall cast a trench about thee, and compass thee round, and keep thee in on every side, and shall lay thee even with the ground, and thy children within thee, and they shall not leave in thee one stone upon another. So this is what happens. All right, this is talking about in 70 AD when Jerusalem was surrounded. Jerusalem is going to be surrounded again in these end times. So this is just another pattern of what's to come. Nobody was ready back then, but there's 144 that's going to be ready in these end times. All right, so make sure you're one of them. And why was the temple destroyed in 70 AD? At the end of the verse 44, because thou knewest not the time of thy visitation. Okay, so they didn't understand the signs of the times, so they were destroyed for the city and the people. The city was destroyed and the people fled into the wilderness, I believe in the mountains. All right, so it's very important that you understand the times you're living in right now, or you're going to be in the world of hurt. All right. I want to go back to Revelation 13 and 18. And I want to show you this little video that I have on this subject about the 666. Alright, it's a video I found that I thought was pretty interesting. I wanted to share it with y'all. I think it makes a lot of sense. So I'm going to run this little video and take a quick look.
The number of his name, multitude, there's a question mark here. Let's go back and take a look at this verse 18 of Revelation 13. Here's wisdom, let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast. Now, the word wisdom is pretty straightforward. That's Sophia, wisdom, full of intelligence, just what we think it means. But the word count in English is actually the Greek word theso, which is to count or reckon or decide by voting. It's to reckon it, okay? All right, that's close, but might be a little different. Okay. Then we have this word arithmos, which is in this verse 3 times. What does that mean in the Greek? It can mean one of two things. Arithmos can mean a specific number. It also can mean an indefinite number, such as a number of people came over last night. How many? Don't know. A number. In other words, an indefinite number. It's used that way in the Greek, or it's used as a precise number. Either way. Okay. Now, man is straightforward. That's anthropos. That's a man, a human being, in other words. Okay. And then his number is 666. And that could be those 3 Greek letters. It might be something else. Now, let's take a look at the manuscripts. At the Oxythicus papyri, if you look closely at the 3rd line, you see those, what apparently are 3 Greek letters, and that gives rise to the translation that we have got in the English, with the 666. You with me so far? However, it turns out that, that's the way you see it there. If you take a look at the, there we go, Codex Vaticanus, if you look at that more closely, Walid suggests the possibility, those aren't Greek letters at all. They may be Arabic letters. He would argue that the manuscript says John wrote what he saw. And he may have not written, he may wrote down things that we've assumed were Greek letters that are not. Now you need to understand all languages flow towards Jerusalem. All nations east of Jerusalem go from right to left. Not only Hebrew, Aramaic, Arabic, Sanskrit, you name it. all nations west of Jerusalem go from left to right. Obviously Latin and all its derivatives, English, German, what have you, Greek, Cyrillic, go from left to right. If that's Arabic, it doesn't go left to right, it goes right to left. And it's Walid that suggests a valid interpretation of that, if it's Arabic, would be Bism Allah. That's the right, the starting from the right hand, the first two letters would be Bism Allah. What looks like an X to us could be two crossed swords, which is the traditional insignia of Islam. And so he suggests the possibility that this, now some people say, well, that one is up at an angle. It's that way on their flag of Iraq, by the way, at an angle. So I wouldn't make a thing of that. And so the point is, the possibility that if this is Arabic, the sign that's being talked about is in the name of Allah, the very thing that Islamic warriors wear on their forehead and on their right arm when they go into battle. Now, if you look at the various renderings of this, you turn that little signal on its belly and it looks like a serpent. How interesting. I wouldn't make too much of that. I just think it's interesting, so I'm showing it to you. Now, let's take, anyway, let's read the way Revelation 13:18 could be translated, not necessarily, but it could allow the following translation. Here is wisdom. Let him that hath understanding decide who the multitude of the beast is. For it is the multitude of a man, in other words, Muhammad, and his multitude are in the name of Allah. Interesting possibility. Don't misunderstand Walid or myself. Walid's a good friend. I respect him profoundly, not only as a practitioner, but also as a scholar. He does his homework. And he doesn't sell this. He just points out as a possibility. We won't really know until we could get a much better rendering from some of the manuscripts to get a clearer perspective. But it certainly appears to be a possibility that's been overlooked. And so I share it with you in that regard. And by the way, not only Walid Shabbat, Joel Richardson and others have picked up on this whole thing.
Okay, so it seems like we're on the same page, because I believe the mark of the beast is Islam, and this so-called Antichrist is going to come in the same mold as Malcolm X. And I believe God gave Malcolm X for us as a type of what's to come in the future. So be on the lookout for that. All right. So with that, I just want to thank God for giving me this understanding, and I want to thank God for the opportunity, giving me the opportunity to share this with you, because I believe everything I spoke today was true. All praises to the Most High God, of course, and keep a lookout, because there's a couple more videos I want to do. One of them is Matthew 24, chapter 24, finally revealed, and the two witnesses of Revelation finally revealed. All right, two witnesses are. It's going to be real interesting. All right, so keep a lookout for those two coming soon. All right, so with that, peace and blessings. Shalom.